and welcome. This is the CNC3 Weekend News this Sunday night, and in our top story, state-owned oil company Petrotrin is tonight seeking to dispel fears that a fuel shortage is looming as Petrotrin workers stay off the job this weekend. The company says the workers' demands have already been addressed, and Samson Nanton has more in this report.
Petrotrin says several employees failed to report for duty at Petrotrin's Point-à-Pierre refinery on Friday and Saturday, and this action forced the company to reduce some of its operations. The company says it has since put contingency measures into place to ensure an uninterrupted supply of products to the local market. Petrotrin notes that, in particular, an NP vessel that was awaiting products has since been loaded and has left the port, and there are no other vessels awaiting product at this time. The workers' action was precipitated by two main issues, the first being the recent announcement by government that a decision was taken to issue a marketing license for bunkering to Bunkers Oil International Corporation, and the second, the non-payment of variable pay to employees for the fiscal year 2009 to 2010. Petrotrin says all employees are entitled to a share in the company's net profit in keeping with existing collective agreements. The company says the net profit includes gains or losses from all its joint venture operations, and that in fiscal year 2009 to 2010, the company wrote off a significant portion of its TT $2.5 billion investment with respect to the World Gas to Liquids joint venture project. Petrotrin says this adversely impacted the profitability of the organization and adds that by circular dated Thursday, August 30th, 2012, the company advised the workers that for fiscal year 2009 to 2010, a net loss was realized, and as such, the payment of variable pay was not applicable. The company is seeking to assure the national community that arrangements are in place to ensure a continued supply of products to the local market. For CNC3, I'm Samson Nanton.
The Education Minister, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, says a total of 77 schools have been repaired during the holiday period, all in time for tomorrow's reopening of schools. The minister is calling on parents to play a greater role in the education of all their children. Samson Nanton has more.
In his statement on the eve of the new school year, Education Minister Dr. Tim Gopi Singh is wishing well the 250,000 students in the early childhood, primary and secondary schools and 16,000 educational staff. The minister says some 77 schools have been repaired during this July to September 2012 vacation period. He says the schools' feeding and schools' textbook loan programs have also been improved, and that by the end of September 2012, approximately 55,000 students and 4,000 teachers would have been provided with a free laptop. The minister says in this academic year, students will continue to benefit from these and many more new policies which serve to reinforce the government's commitment to education, since this sector, he says, remains the mainstay of the nation's continued path to progress and prosperity. But the minister says the Education Ministry cannot succeed without the cooperation of all parents, teachers and students. He says parents must remember that without their commitment, society is in danger of losing even more young people to crime and violence. The minister says the country suffers from a crisis in parenting at this time, and that the time has come for parents to recommit to their duties and responsibilities to their children. He says they must make a commitment to be more engaged, and he also implores principals and teachers to also recommit to the tasks entrusted on them as educators. He says the ministry seeks a reduction in teacher absenteeism and better academic performance among students, especially in their literacy and numeracy skills. The minister notes that many children today come from dysfunctional backgrounds, making their tasks as teachers more important and more powerful. The minister is also urging all principals and teachers to join the students in reciting and singing the words of our national pledge and our national anthem respectively in honor of our country's 50th birthday and recommit to its ideals. For CNC3, I'm Samson Nanton.
Meanwhile, the Mukarapu Islamic College, the Madrasa Al-Muslimin Primary School and Preschool, is reminding parents that school reopens on Wednesday, the 5th of September. And the La Pastora Government Primary School in Santa Cruz, which was experiencing a sewage problem, will be opened tomorrow morning. Now to Chinapoo Village, Morva, where residents are accusing politicians of turning their backs on them, leaving them at risk, and they are now appealing for help. The residents say that too many requests for the improvement of their community have gone unanswered. We've got more from Samuel McKnight. We'll continue with that story a little later on. Now, the search is on for a 35-year-old who went missing last Monday. The friends and the family of Roshan Balkaran say he disappeared while en route to his Barataria home last Monday. Police reports indicate that the straightener and painter was last seen wearing blue jean pants, a black jersey, a black cap with black shoes while awaiting transportation on 6th Avenue, Barataria, and he has not been seen since. Relatives say several calls to his telephone, as well as checks to relatives, hospitals, emergency centres and police stations have all been futile. Meanwhile, police suspect that heart attack may be responsible for the death of two men whose bodies were discovered yesterday. Reports are that at around 11:10 yesterday morning, engineer Patrick Sigobin of Elizabeth Gardens, St. Joseph, went out to do a job and he returned a short while later, after neighbours discovered his body lying nearby in bushes with blood running from his nose. Family members say he had several operations in the past, including a quadruple bypass surgery. And relatives of Samil Khan say they went to his Bolio Avenue, Trin City home at around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, where they found his lifeless body on the ground. There were no signs of violence. Autopsies will be performed on both bodies tomorrow. Let's take a short break. The news continues right after this.
2009, I will never forget that year. What we have accomplished as a very small nation is very inspiring. We gave the best for our team, for our country, and for our people. You know, this is one way of identifying a Trinbagonian, and cricket has definitely done that for us. What are you proud about? Tell us by tweeting on Twitter to #I4TNT.
Where there's love for country, there's energy. Where there's energy, there's BPTT.
Professional boxing is back on Sunday, September 2nd at the Woodbrook Youth Facility. Keyshawn Walcott brought you Olympic gold. Now, come out and see Kurt Sinnett bring to the nation boxing gold as he takes on Joey Vegas out of Uganda for the WBC Light Heavyweight International title. Also fighting our very own Rio Ramnarine, Kevin Diaz, and MMA specialist Dwayne Hine. Gates open at 3 p.m. Tickets available at all Extra Foods, High-Low Food Stores, and Kenny's Sports Center.
Considering all your mouth goes through, do you really think brushing is enough to keep it clean? While brushing misses germs and 75% of your mouth, Listerine cleans virtually your entire mouth. So take your oral health to a whole new level. Listerine, power to your mouth.
Let's take you back to the story of residents at Chinapoo Village in Morva who are accusing politicians of leaving them at risk. And although they've been appealing for help, they say too many requests have gone unanswered. Here's Samuel McKnight with the story.
Chinapoo Village, Morva, once a hotbed of sporting, cultural and other uplifting activities, is now a dismal place, often associated with criminal activities. But angry residents today blamed the politicians of both the opposition People's National Movement and the ruling People's Partnership for bringing the area into its current state. Expressing fears should heavy rains come, spokesman for the residents, Lance Etienne, says the politicians have allowed the drainage to fall apart.
The drains, we lost 3 lives here, we tried to complain to them. The stoppages by Mova police station. All they have to do is to cut the road and the drain will be moving free. There's a problem for all these years. We keep going to Mr. Embert when he was there. We go to this one for Geraldine and nothing happening.
He says the area is also affected by the lack of dustbins, proper scavenging, jobs, and simple necessities in a community served by 2 PNM MPs, Donna Cox and Naileong Hippolyte, and People's Partnership Ambassador and Jack leader, Makandal Daga. He also claims that in September 2005, money was passed for the refurbishing of the multipurpose court to the regional corporation, But 7 years later, the court is in a dilapidated state and the bathroom facilities remains uncompleted. Etienne is calling for an inquiry.
Same month, September, again, which will be in 2012, I'll be complaining that nothing went on the gates, the toilets, none of the facilities. We had to use. We're just using this facility here just by guess. We would like to get investigation to know where the funds went for the refurbishment of this court.
Supporting Etienne's views, two residents, Rodney Williams and Ruben Simon, says these improvements cannot only end crime, but bring a better lifestyle to the community.
It might have one or two still might get caught up in a little offset, but eventually, once things going on, less crime will be happening.
I would like to see that these places fixed, that all those young boys, we have plenty young footballers, good footballers. You understand, we can bring plenty gold for the country and also if these young people have a better place than this.
Efforts to contact MPs Cox and Hippolyte were futile. For CNC3, I am Samuel McKnight.
The descendants of this country's original Amerindian population have kept the tradition alive with the annual procession of the Carib community through the streets of Arima. It took place today, and the Carib Queen, Jennifer Scassa, says unity and progress are two main ambitions of the Carib community. Here's Samuel McKnight with the story.
The largest block of the Carib community, the Santa Rosa First People, today celebrated the 226th anniversary of the Feast of Santa Rosa with a mass at the Santa Rosa RC Church and a procession through the streets of Arima. Expressing her satisfaction with this year's celebration, Carib Queen Jennifer Scassa says one of her three desires is to bring the three units of the Amerindian communities together.
Apart from us, there are two other groups, the Warao of the Southwestern Peninsula and the Partners of First Peoples in Arima. We have been meeting with them continuously in the past. We have reached the stage of a memorandum of understanding, and that has not been signed off on yet, but they are part of us. We keep meeting them regularly, and they're going to be celebrating with us as a united front for the Amerindian Heritage Festival on October 14 this year.
Normally, this procession takes place on August 23rd, but it was incorporated this year into the Arima Borough Days celebration as part of this country's Jubilee Independence celebration, with plans already in place for the setting up of a cassava factory and Amerindian village and a museum targeting the ecotourism market. Scassa says unity is not her only main aim.
My main focus right now is to sensitize people, and especially young people who are of Amerindian blood, to come and be part of our community, join with us, because as senior citizens we will not be here forever, and we need to pass the traditions on to the younger folks.
Currently, there are close to 6,000 people of Amerindian descent living in Trinidad and Tobago. While expressing satisfaction over the government's stated intentions to provide the community with 25 acres of land, Scassa, who's a member of the government-appointed Amerindian Project Board, says the community wants a bigger say in national matters concerning them. Scassa was elected queen on August 14, 2011, following the death of former Queen Valentina Medina in April that year.
Apart from a united front, I would like to see us play a more active role as it regards to things in the government. We right now sit on an Amerindian Project Committee. Yes, we have the heirs of the government, but we need to do a little more.
Also taking part in the proceedings was the Mayor of Arima, Gassan Youssef, and Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, Dr. Lincoln Douglas. The Virgin Mary is the patron saint of the Santa Rosa Feast. For CNC3, I am Samuel McKnight.
And residents at Vega de Orapuch are calling for answers after receiving eviction notices to move off government land that they've been squatting on for a number of years. With the report, once again, here is our Samuel McKnight.
Several years ago, when the quiet squatting community at Vega de Orapuch started increasing, they received eviction notices, but nothing happened, and the population and the homes continued increasing. Officials from the Land Settlement Agency visited and promised If they are to be removed, new lands will be sourced for them before anything is done. But 3 days ago, the residents received notices giving them 30 days to move. Now the confused residents are asking why the sudden move and are demanding answers. One resident, Calvin Batiste, says that not only is the move confusing, but they don't know where to get answers.
And I would like to also ask the government of Trinidad and Tobago to take a look into this because we have nowhere to go.
But he says they were even tricked into supporting the UNC in the area during the last local government elections with promises if they voted for the party, they will not be moved. 64-year-old Errol Bruce, who has been living in the area for more than 30 years, fears vagrancy is facing him.
I wonder if I would come to the street, if they would make my home on the street, if they would make my bedroom on the street, where would I go? I have nowhere to live.
Appealing to the motherly instincts of Prime Minister Kamna Persad Bissessa, fire victim Sherian Mohammed made this appeal.
Observe that that mother is in the mood for sharing and giving house, land gifts, and as homeless, so we can say homeless right now, we have nowhere to go right now. We need help.
For CNC3, I am Samuel McKnight.
Now some news of 50th anniversary celebrations. It's to the community of Orange Valley in central Trinidad, holding its own Independence Day celebrations in the form of a motorcade. Now the event was planned by the Orange Valley Village Council and it got underway shortly after 9. Speaking with reporters at the start of the motorcade, the residents of the Village Council, including Mukesh Baburam, said the idea came about because it was felt that more emphasis needed to be placed on independence.
Nor any of the religious holidays, Diwali, Eid or Christmas, we focus on Independence Day.
Also present was the Minister in the Ministry of National Diversity and Social Integration, Mbao Mohini, who said the independence celebration should be a reason to foster more togetherness in the citizenry.
Develop a greater sense of patriotism in this country. And what greater opportunity than this, our Golden Jubilee.
He said this is a time for the nation to rejoice, celebrate, and reflect. And we want to tell you that due to overwhelming demand for the commemorative independence issue that came out in the Guardian newspaper on Friday, copies are going on sale tomorrow from the Guardian offices on St. Vincent Street in Port of Spain, also the Guardian offices at Chancery Lane, San Fernando, and at the Mid-Center Mall in Chaguanas. You can also access this commemorative independence issue with your purchase of the e-edition from Tuesday, September the 4th. Simply go to the logo on the www.guardian.co.tt website, click e-edition to access this service. Coming up, we have tonight's sports news. Kurt Sinnett goes after the WBC's International Light Heavyweight title tonight. His fight is just hours away. Robin van Persie bags his 100th Premier League goal as Manchester United leave it late to defeat Southampton. And there you have the gold. England will also finish the year on top of the one-day international rankings after a 4-wicket victory over South Africa. It's all next in sport.
To be equal, to live in a society that responds to you without prejudice, to be treated fairly no matter what your background may be, regardless of race or religion, regardless of geographic location, gender, or any disability you may have. It's not just an idea we should live by, but an ideal that our children can look up to, that our communities can aspire to, that our employers must embrace. But it's more than that. It is the right of every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. It is a right that is championed and upheld by the Equal Opportunity Commission. The EOC is about educating, breaking down barriers, and eliminating obstacles to truly empower people on the basis of their merit. This is the mission of the Equal Opportunity Commission of Trinidad and Tobago. Equality is everyone's dream. It's everyone's right.
There's one in all of us. Don't drink and drive. Designate a friend so you can lime again. Be the one. A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Beverage Alcohol Alliance.
Early detection of heart problem can save your life. If you know it, you can change it. Make an appointment for a cardiovascular screen and a stress test today to avoid the risk of sudden heart attack or stroke. Also, get this highly informative book, No More Heart Disease, written by Dr. Luis J. Ignarro, Nobel Prize winner in medicine. It shows how you can prevent and even reverse heart disease and stroke the natural way. Call Modern Caribbean Enterprises Limited today for an appointment. It can save your life.
Trinidad and Tobago's shot putter Carlos Green got off, unfortunately, to a disappointing start at the London 2012 Paralympic Games today in the discus throw event. Green threw a distance of 26.28 meters in his third attempt, but that was nowhere near good enough. The gold medalist David Casino had 4 attempts. His best was 38.41 meters in that throw. Green placed 11th overall in the final standings. He will be back out on the field tomorrow, competing in the men's shot put. That event is carded to begin at 5 a.m. and Green will lead off the 21 finalists. Meanwhile, TNT swimmer Chantal Ince will jump back into the pool on Thursday when she competes in her final event, which is the women's 400-meter freestyle. And in just a few hours, Kurt Sinnett will get into the ring to face the Ugandan Joey Vegas for the World Boxing Council's international light heavyweight title. Sinnett, who is known as the fighting technician, will go into the bout with an impressive record of 21 victories, including 12 knockouts of his 22 professional fights. His opponent holds a less imposing record of 13 victories with 6 knockouts and 6 losses in his last 20 fights. Both men weighed in at 175 pounds, and the winner of tonight's 12-round duel will get a shot at the WBC's world title. Also on tonight's show is Rhea Ramnarine, who will break her 12-month absence from the boxing ring when she takes on the Guyanese Stephanie George in a 6-round battle. In the 2 lightweight meetings, Princely Isidore will fight against Guyanese Cassius Matthews, while in an all-local affair, Jamelia Jones will face Tiana Sosa Seni. On to some football news. It was goals from Arsenal's new boys, Lucas Podolski and Sati Cazorla, that ended the Gunners' wait for their first-round win of the season against Liverpool at Anfield. It was a dramatic day where St Mary's, where Manchester United needed the individual brilliance of Robin van Persie to get them over the line against Southampton. Here's a wrap on the Premier League matches that took place across England today.
With just 2 points from 2 games, Arsenal entered Anfield still searching for their first win of the new season and their first goal. After a relatively even start to the match, a poor pass from Steven Gerrard allowed Thomas Vermaelen to set up a break for Arsenal. Santi Cazorla played in Lucas Podolski from the centre and the German fired the visitors ahead. Podolski would return the favour to his Spanish teammate in the second half. When he played in Cazorla into the box, the winger drove the ball from under Pepe Reina to seal a convincing 2-0 win for the Gunners. In the later matches at St Mary's, Robin van Persie scored an emphatic hat-trick as Manchester United left it late to beat Southampton. The Saints went ahead in the 16th minute through Ricky Lambert, but Van Persie would equalise for United 7 minutes later. Morgan Schneiderlin restored the hosts' lead in the second half. However, with 3 minutes of normal time remaining, Van Persie scored to level the game. The former Arsenal striker would return in stoppage time to steal victory from the jaws of defeat, handing United a 3-2 win. And in the league's final game, Newcastle and Aston Villa played to a 1-1 draw. Kyron Clark gave Villa an early lead in the 22nd minute, but Hatem Ben Arfa struck a wonder goal from 25 yards out to deny Aston Villa their first league win of the season. So after 3 matches, here's how the Barclays Premier League table looks. Chelsea lead the way with a maximum 9 points. Swansea City, West Brom and Manchester City are all on 7 points, while Manchester United round off the top with 5. The players will have an international break now and return to club duty in 2 weeks' time.
England took a 2-1 lead in their 5-match one-day series against South Africa today with a comfortable 4-wicket win at Lord's. The victory means that England will finish the year at the top of the ICC one-day international rankings. Samuel McKnight has more.
After retaining the world #1 spot in one-day cricket just 2 days ago, it was back down to defending it for England today. After being sent in to bat, South Africa's opening partnership once again blossomed, with an array of shots from Graham Smith and Hashim Amla. However, as the opening stand crossed the half-century mark, Smith was caught behind for 29. JP Dimini and Amla carried the score to the century mark, but on 45, Amla failed to carry on from his start as he was clean bowled for the second consecutive time. From there, England managed to stifle their opponents throughout the innings, as James Treadwell, who took 3 wickets, and Ravi Bopara, who finished with 2 for 34, put the screws on the visitors. South Africa had some good knocks from A.B. de Villiers, who made 39, Dean Elgar, who hit 35, and Robin Peterson struck 31 to the end of the innings, as the Proteas ended on 220 for 8 of their 50 overs. England chase was off to another bad start when Captain Alicia Cook was dismissed in the first over, leg before to Dale Steyn. However, Ian Bell and Jonathan Trott put on 141 runs for the third wicket as England fought back. Bell struck his 23rd one-day 50 in his knock of 58 from 137 balls, while Trott was more cautious in his approach, scoring 48 from 77 balls. It took Dean Elgar in the 32nd over to break the Marathon stand. Bowling his slow leg armers, Elgar trapped Trott leg before, but only got the decision on review. Ravi Bopara's form with the bat continued, but it did not stop England from marching on. Bell took the score to 186 before he was brilliantly caught behind by A.B. de Villiers. It was too little too late, as Owen Morgan, unbeaten on 36, and Craig Kiswetter, not out on 21, took England safely home. For CNC3, I am Samuel McKnight.
Samuel McKnight there reporting with the final story in our sports section this evening. Stay tuned. This is the Weekend News with us, CNC3.
Professional boxing is back on Sunday, September 2nd at the Woodbrook Youth Facility. Keyshawn Walcott brought you Olympic gold. Now, come out and see Kurt Sinnett bring to the nation boxing gold as he takes on Joey Vegas out of Uganda for the WBC light heavyweight international title. Also fighting our very own Rio Ramnarine, Kevin Diaz, and MMA specialist Dwayne Hine. Gates open at 3 p.m. Tickets available at all Extra Foods, High-Low Food Stores, and Kenny's Sports Center.
Drink it up now, drink it up now. Drink it up now, drink it up now. Enjoy the new look and same great taste today. Ginseng up, the root of all power.
Let's continue now with a summary of today's main international